There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite, yeah, when we unite, oh, we unite, yeah, yeah, when we unite, yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Yes, we are here. Why am I whispering? I don't know. When that happens, I get nervous. When I start doing those things that I don't even understand why I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm being hijacked. Anyway, I am present. I am here. I am now. I am present. I am here. I am now. I am present. I am here. I am now. And so are you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you wherever you are at this moment in time. Thank you for tuning in to yourself first and then tuning in to Ade Presents, being you, and then giving yourself permission to listen so that you can allow the transformation to take place. I am Ade, your transformational agent, your transformational beingness artist, even. I have so many nicknames. Welcome to another episode of Ade Presents, being you, the journey back to yourself. Season 3, episode 16, Tuesday. Oh, it's 4:20 today. Ooh, this is my moment. Yeah, right. I don't even know what to do with it. And if you didn't catch the 4:20 joke, don't worry about it. You're in the same place with me. I'm just curious. I usually, when I don't know things like that, I'm like, what does that mean? Anyway, today is Tuesday, April 20th. 2021. The theme is liberating the soul of Africans in the diaspora and the motherland. And this show is an invitation, always, every day, in every moment, to ask yourself, how are you seeing yourself? How do you see yourself? How do you see the world? How do you see yourself in the world? And how do you see the world in you? That's a question you can ask yourself all the time, in every moment. And it's the kind of questions that bring you to this moment. So you could either do the affirmation I did at the beginning, where you can say, I am present, I am here, I am now. And that was for some of you, it may not be, but it's a new affirmation that was downloaded to me. It was like this Sunday, as I was preparing and thinking about representing our ancestors, representing our stories, and going through some things which I will share with you later. One of the things that the Spirit gave me is the affirmation, I am present. Just think about that for a minute. I am present. I am here. I am now. Now, don't listen to it as me saying it for myself. Listen to it as you say it for yourself. I mean, we're living in some crazy times. The joke is, when I listen to shows I've done 10, 15 years ago, it's so amazing to hear myself saying, wow, we're living in some amazing times. So much is going on. That's the great thing about archiving the show. Like, what? And if someone told me I said that 15, 20 years ago, I probably would say, no, I don't think so. I may have said something similar. But there is a lot going on, and it is not about to change. But some of you might need to make a quick change right now if you want to, but you don't have to. We're inviting you to join us on our main broadcast page. Actually, we have two, but on Facebook. So here's the rest of the story real quick. Facebook, we have a main page, and we also have a YouTube page. We're growing both. So if you're on, I see some people watching on YouTube right now. New Jace is in the house. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I never asked you what your 47 stands for, because I know it's not what I think it is. But anyway, we'll talk about that. I'm looking over there because my other computer's on YouTube over there. But anywho, so on Facebook, facebook.com/being you podcast. That's the main page on Facebook. And, if you go there and you post your questions and all that other stuff, we'll get to see it. Oh, that's why I'm not seeing people. I have several browsers open. Got Chrome and Firefox and just going back and forth between them. And then also we have youtube.com/LC Radio. LC Radio. That's all you need to know. Ambassador and I started Life Conversations Radio, and it literally, Life Conversations Radio sort of morphed into what you're experiencing now. There's a lot more to it, and there's a lot more coming. But for now, that's it. How are you guys doing? How's everyone feeling? How are you living? How are you navigating this thing called life? How are you supporting yourself in breaking away from the the energetic vampires that shows up as news, sometimes in social media, sometimes it's an incident that happened. There's a lot going on. And clearly, according to history and my own research, it's going to keep going on. Let me give you some announcements. If you have a podcast, thinking of starting a podcast, I invite you to check out libsyn.com, Libsyn. They're actually expanding. They're doing a lot of things. They're doing some things that I'm kind of like, I usually kind of give some of the companies when they do it side eye, but I don't know why anybody wants to acquire another business. And it's none of my business. If I have a business and I feel like I can buy another one out for whatever the reason is, so be it. But Libsyn is growing and getting kind of big, so you might want to check it out. Anyway, why am I telling you to check out Libsyn? Well, because I partner with them, and basically, if you sign up with Libsyn, you will get at least a month free if you use the promo code Ade. So use the promo code if you're thinking of starting a podcast. If you're thinking of starting a podcast, don't sign up yet. I can help you with that. I consult with people who want to start a podcast. Or if you don't need to consult with me, make sure you're ready when you sign up. Don't sign up on the 1st of the month. But any other day after that, you can sign up. Sign up on the 2nd. If you sign up on the 2nd or any date after that, I don't know why that feels so. Leslie and I trying to figure it out. Well, she probably like, no, you're trying to figure it out. But I'm trying to figure it out. Let me not wrap her into it. Like, I already know what I would say. But sign up anytime after the 1st. Don't sign up on the 1st. You can. But if you sign up, if you sign up today's the 20th, you get the whole of this month free and then the whole of May free. That's why I tell you don't sign up on the 1st. If you sign up on the 1st, you won't get that much. Maybe you get an hour if you get anything. Make sure you use the promo code Ade, ADE, libsyn.com. Check it out. And but make sure you sign up if you're going to sign up with them when you're really ready to jump in. If you want to consult, I am available, lifecoachade.com. I actually need to put my Calendly on my website. I got to figure that out. The other announcement is every Wednesday, Ricky Byers and myself, yours truly, we host a show called Soul Fulfilling. Soulful songs, soulful conversation. I love that show because it's different. I'm sort of not driving it. I'm in conversation with Ricky. And, I also kind of like, it's Ricky's platform. I'm co-hosting with her. So she's not interviewing me, and something happens, and just listening to the songs that have been the playlist of my personal spiritual journey is awesome. And then to hear the stories that come behind that. That's Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and 2 a.m. UK time. Every Wednesday is Thursday if you're in UK. If you're in America, it's Wednesday. Representing our ancestors, representing our stories. That's the thing that's going on now. You need to be there. Why? Because that's the only thing going on. Everything else is just supporting acts. My dear friend and I, Michelle Jordan, we are leading this gathering. And I'll tell you more about what that is if you don't know, so keep listening. The website, the link to find out more is bit.ly/represent ancestors. So that's bit.ly/represent ancestors with an S. Okay? bit.ly/represent ancestors. You find out more information about it. Some of you got information from me. You got text. You got emails from Leslie. And so I think that's pretty much. Oh, and of course, it's a 3-part series. So the first one is April 24th. The second one is May 15th. And the third one is June 19th, which happens to fall on, yes, thank you, Leslie, which happens to fall on Juneteenth. So April 24th, we're dealing with grief rituals. We're going to guide you through a process. Some people are often afraid of grief or feeling heavy. Grieving is part of your spiritual practice. I'm telling you, You want to grieve what you've lost, what you think you could have received. You want to grieve it, because when you grieve it, you give it permission to move on. When you ignore it, you're just storing it. It's just piling up, and it's constantly looking for an outlet. You have a choice. The second one, May 15th, is we're going to create new stories about ourselves, for ourselves, as African descent, African heritage people, and not based on what's written in the story or the misperception that people want to put out there. We get to write a new story. And the third one, June 19th, is where we create a new vision of a vision of a new generation. Like, we could hold a vision so that the generations to come have no choice but to live into it. And when I say no choice, it's not a forced choice, because you prepared the house. You prepared a table before them in the presence of their enemies. And they know that goodness and mercy will always follow them, because you prepared a table. But we have to ask ourselves, what table are we preparing for those to come? Are we just saying, oh, it's really sad, humanity is horrible, why is this happening, what's going on? If you get answers to those questions, it just leaves you to more questions. And then you leave this planet being paralyzed, feeling powerless, broke, suffering. And then that's the table you prepare for the ones who are to come. I'll say more about that, because that's what today is about. It's question and answer, Q&A with Ade. Everybody just take a breath. Take a breath, take a breath. The theme for the show this month is liberating the soul of Africans in the diaspora and the motherland. I said that earlier, but I need to remind you. Let's see. Oh, I see somebody. Love Lotus Village. I love that name. On IG, Kwali, thank you for being here. New Jace and all the other silent listeners, those of you that are listening, watching, just behind the scene, not necessarily commenting, which is fine. It's good to see you there. I know you're there. And yeah. You know, I want to talk about representing our ancestors, representing our stories. Some of you have heard it. Some of you may have heard a little bit about it. Some of you probably feel like, I don't know what that is. It sounds good. Or it's like, I have no idea. I have no idea what he's talking about. But you know, he be making up words. Well, let me tell you what it is. I don't know if I'm going to spend a lot of time telling you what it's not, because I'm not interested in that. Let me tell you how it started. And those of you who listen to my daily Facebook Live, actually I do it both on Facebook and YouTube, you probably hear this, but sometimes you got to hear things over and over for it to really sink in. Representing our ancestors, representing our stories came to me through what I call a dream vision. And what I call a dream vision is, in a dream, when I get an answer to a question or a message. And you've heard me say this many times. I get a lot of messages when especially when I go to bed early and I wake up refreshed, wake up without the alarm. Even when I'm waking up, like, information is coming on how to do what to do. And I'm so grateful for that. It's a gift that I don't take for granted. And I don't say it's a gift as in it's unique to me. I believe it's available for all of us. And some of us gets it differently. That's just how I get it. For some of you, you might just ask right there and then, put pen to paper and write it down. So anyway, representing our ancestors, representing our stories came through a dream vision. And it was the day after I was in a gathering, an interplay gathering. And it was few days, a week or so after George Floyd was murdered. And I'm here in the UK watching CNN, feeling all the emotions and feeling kind of saddened by it. And then I have my friends, my interplayers, who are in Atlanta, who are experiencing the protest. They're in the midst of it. So the distance made it a little less intense on my end. Anyway, in this interplay gathering, we had an affinity group. So we're the BIPOC community going in a breakout room to kind of talk about what they're feeling. Some of you might say, what the heck is a BIPOC? What did you say? Is he speaking Yoruba? Sometimes he speaks so fast, I don't know what he just said. BIPOC, what? BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, People of Color. To be more inclusive. And some people go, oh, here we go with all these alphabets. Well, that's how you learn to speak and spell. You started with the alphabet. So if you really want to know something, you got to know the alphabets. Get over yourself. So, anywho, I digress. It's not necessarily a new thing. I don't know, maybe about 2 years or something, 3 years, but you see it. And then the white people as well went into their affinity group and just talking about what is happening, how we are all moving through it. As I listened to that time, it was just black people in the context of America. It's different from black people in other parts of the world. But anyway, so it was just black people sharing their stories, sharing their experiences, their fears, their anxieties. And I remember my heart was so full, and listening to their stories connected me in a deeper way with what's going on in America. And I saw how that being here protected my heart. You know, I'm telling you, God knows what God is doing. Sometimes we need to be removed from a situation, either because you're so sensitive, you can get overwhelmed by what you're sensing that you can't function. So I heard the stories of what everyone's sharing. And after the interplay gathering, I kept asking Spirit, how can I support? What is mine to do? How can I support? What can I add to this? So this came to me in a dream vision, and I wrote it down. And I think we had another gathering, and I shared it with one of the interplayers, Carolyn Renee. And she said, well, because I didn't know when it came, I really didn't know that what I was going to do with it. Like, well, is this going to be an event? Is it going to be a performance? Is this for a radio show or a podcast? Should I say? You know, I wasn't quite sure. I talked to some friends, and I was thinking, is this an international thing? Is this a conference? A friend of mine, Karima, who was here about 3 weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, she said, you know, when I hear this, because I was saying maybe it's an international thing. She said, what I'm hearing is transcontinental gathering event. I was like, ooh, I like that. Long story short, I spoke to Carolyn Renee. She said, you know, we have a space because there's also, as Interplay was started by two people, Cynthia Winton Henry and Phil Porter. And they're both white. And anything that is created, whether it's white, whether it's by people who are in a brown body, whatever you create has the energy, has your soul imprint in it. And I don't say that as a judgment. I say it as an observation. And they recognize that, and they're saying we got to do things differently. So over the years now, there's even an interplay statement. And I encourage you all, whether you participate in any interplay thing that I offer or not, check out the website, interplay.org. Check it out and go to, I'll tell you, I need to look at it. Interplay.org. There is a statement there. Yeah, I got to tell you about this statement because it tells my story a lot. This whole thing tells my story with Interplay. So if you're there, or if not, you can pause if you're listening to the show archive. Where is it? I don't see it. There is a statement. Oh, here we go. So when you go to the homepage on the right, you see the blue boxes or buttons. There's one that said racial equity and transformation. And racial equity and transformation, there's a statement. And this statement was adopted by the board of director of Body of Wisdom, Inc. /Interplay on August 9th, 2011. I'm going to read one paragraph there. And I tell you, this was on one of the gatherings we had called Leaders Gathering. And I remember when this thing was being read, I cried like a baby. It wasn't even me crying. I felt like I was being cried through. Like some people were crying through me. And I didn't even know why. So I'm going to read the second paragraph. Body wisdom recognizes that all human ancestry is African ancestry. that racial classification by design divide the body of the whole, specifically exploiting people of color, our sense of self, culture, and resources, while intentionally granting privilege, wealth, and power to people of European descent. Okay, I'm going to stop reading that because I'm welling up already. Ooh, I get moved and touched, and because healing for me touches me in such a deep place. I believe any kind of injustice is a no-no in my world. And I also understand and accept that it's part of life. I know and accept that it's part of life, but doesn't have to remain so. So when people are standing up to say, we're going to eradicate this, we're going to do things differently, we're going to speak the truth, it touches me in such a deep level. And I will even be, hey, Keisha, I'll be even more transparent in saying right now I'm kind of like pacing myself because I am. So an organization that was started by two white people and understood that we need to correct some things in the world. There's some people who will never understand that. There are going to be some people who resist that. And that's fine. I ain't got time to fool with them. I got too much shit to take care of. I'm not worried about those people. I'm looking for people who are about change. Call it allyship, call it whatever, call it an anti-racist. It really doesn't matter to me. Are you showing up and doing the dirty work? Anyway, so out of this, the birthing of that statement, Interplay decided to make sure that the people of color, the BIPOC community, get what they need. Because there was a time where Interplay was, still is, where we used to say Interplay is so white, and that's just the nature of things. It's just the nature of things. It's not a judgment. Is it what it is? It is what it is. And it's very powerful when you can call things out, when you can say what it is and it can be heard. And especially when you're coming from a place of observation rather than a judgment, because things are the way they are because the way they started off. So if you want it to be different, you just got to be different. Okay? So, anyway, I got the space to do the first session of the Representing Our Ancestors, Representing Our Stories. And I knew I wanted to do more of it. Long story short, I eventually found out, I knew there was a grant that was given out through Interplay. It's a Racial Equity and Transformation mini grant. And some people say, you should apply for the grant. And I was like, okay. I don't know what I'm going to get funding for. It's crazy. We walk around with gifts and talents, and Spirit has been whispering and yelling and giving us everything we need, want, desire. And then when it's time to say, you can show up, we're like, I don't know if I have the experience. I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I have the tools. I think I need to go to school. I think I need qualification. And God is like, get your ass up. We got shit to do. That's right. How I know God can have that kind of conversation with me. So if your God is like, oh, my daughter, my beloved daughter, you got things to do. Please get up. Hey, that's how your God talks to you. But my God can say, get your ass up. We got some healing to do. So moving right along. Anyway, it dawned on me. I was like, stupid. Of course you have something you can fund. And there's something about listening to Spirit, which is also some of us who are artists can relate to this. Just even on your spiritual journey, when you hear something and you write it down, maybe he's doing a meditation, maybe he's doing an ayahuasca ceremony, maybe it's another kind of ritual, and you write in your journal, or maybe even from a dream vision, and you get excited. But then when it comes to telling other people about it, you're like, ooh, I don't want people to think I'm crazy. I don't know. People might think, ooh, now you're going to say it out loud. But when you first got the message, you was excited. You were like, oh, yes, the world would need this. Or, I'm so glad I'm connected to Spirit. So there's the thought, there's the word, and there's the action. Those are the levels of creating. And representing our ancestors, representing our stories is going through that process. So I had the thought. It came as a dream vision, a higher thought, a thought that I received, not a thought that I was thinking, a thought, a God thought that was downloaded. Then I spoke it. And then someone said, you can ask for a grant. And then I spoke it by writing it and applying for a grant. I told you when I got the letter and said they accepted my application, I was moved in some way. I wouldn't say in some funny way. It just touched me. It felt like a confirmation. And it was initially supposed to be, it was going to happen in January 2021. But life just didn't have it that way. And I had to trust the process. That's the thing. When you receive an idea, trust the process. And it couldn't have been happening at a better time, because I told you when I got it, it was not long after George Floyd was lynched, murdered. And here we are, about a year later, they're in court. There's a trial going on. God knows what God is doing. I'm telling you. You know that. I'm not telling you what you don't know. I'm just echoing what you know already. So got the grant, set it up, and here we are today. And the premise of it all, the premise of this event, this 3-part series that's happening, it's for people of African descent, African heritage, because even that was it took a while to get to that place, because I wanted to have Black people, indigenous people, and sometimes we're all of that. Okay, but that's a different conversation. Google BIPOC and read about it. And then the people of color, who often are seen as the Chinese, the Indians, and Latinos, I think. And I was trying to be inclusive, talking about representing my story. And I spoke to someone who's part of Interplay, who I love so dearly, such a wise woman, Coke. And as I shared the vision and what I wanted to do, she was like, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but what I'm getting is, this is for Black people. The first thing I felt myself go, oh no, I can't do something and say it's for Black people. I don't want to be a separatist. I don't want to be like the people that I criticized. I don't want to be what white supremacy has done to Black people, or what some people now call white toxicity. I don't want to do that. And she said, well, just think about it. And I thought about it, and I was like, ugh. But even in my fear, in my nervousness, there was something in my heart that just knew that was the truth. I just knew it was the truth, that this is for Black people. Whether you're in America, whether in UK, in the motherland, wherever you are in the world, Brazil, Dubai, we're connected in ways beyond interpretation, beyond words. So here we are now. The first event is April 24th, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UK time. And to find out any more information, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it, because today is about question and answer with Ade. Q&A with Ade. Sorry, Leslie. Go to bit.ly/represent ancestors. Now, why is this needed? Why this? Why now? Most of you know, unless you listen to me for the first time, you may not know this. I was born in the UK. So I spent the first 4 years of my life in the UK. In fact, I was conceived in Germany, born in UK, and then grew up in Nigeria, and then came back here when I was almost 18. So 14 years in Nigeria, and then eventually moved to America. And I spent most of the better part of 25 years in America. And I have a sort of affinity for America, Atlanta, Georgia specifically. So that journey that didn't mean anything to me when I was younger, and as an adult, it shaped me in ways that just amazes me. And in America, the whole thing about the oppression about Black people, African descent people, it's almost like it's just acceptable. Like that's the way it's supposed to be. So when people in the NFL players are taking a knee, white folks are like, what's wrong with them? So they should be grateful. Even that statement itself speaks volumes. Because if white people are protesting against something, no other white person would say about another white person should be grateful that they're in this country. I mean, white women and white men, and nobody said about those knuckleheads who invaded the Capitol. Nobody said they should be grateful. They called him a patriot. So even in the daily conversation, we can see where the oppression, and it's not just in America, it's happening here in the UK, it's happening in the motherland. It's happening in ways that we can't even imagine, where the land is being raped and the resources have been sucked out of that country because people have been allowed, the leaders, some of the leaders, some people, just regular people, they've allowed their minds to be colonized. And it's not just in the leaders in Africa. It's the leaders here. They're corrupted too. In America, it's called lobbying. In countries in Africa, it's called bribe. But I think Africans, when we do things, we're like, yeah, okay, so I'm taking a bribe. Now what? And America's like, no, we can make it legal. We don't call it bribe. We call it lobbying. Give me money and I'll move your case forward. We are not corrupted. Anyway, just give me some contrast to see what's going on. And if you're constantly getting your information from the same source, you won't see something different. You won't know there's something else going on. One of the things I love about UK when you watch the news, you get to see a broad perspective of what's going on in the world. You get to hear different news. Now, there might still be some propaganda, of course, but you get to see things differently. In America, oh yeah, there are many channels, but mostly you have the major networks. You know, the 3 or 4 of them. And we keep saying they're telling lies, they're not telling the truth, but we keep watching it. Sometimes we're addicted to the lies. So representing our ancestors, representing our stories is to break our own addiction to bullshit, to break our addiction to the things that we've accepted. We say is not true, but we keep constantly living our lives or define ourselves based on the lies that's been told about us. Like, if someone constantly criticizes you, judges you, call you names, and every time you step outside your house, you're spending a lot of your energy trying to convince your neighbors and everybody else that you're not what that person is saying about you. That's the waste of energy. You let them die off by paying them no mind. And I'm not saying just turn up a blind eye, but to remove your attention from it. Sometimes you might want to say to yourself, you know, it took me a while to realize, but they might have some mental health issues. I don't know, but clearly, if they're going on like that about me, something is wrong somewhere. They've been miseducated. So representing our ancestors, representing our stories is an event where you get to tell a new story about your ancestors. Yes, we are going to talk about we're not talking about those things. We can talk about the oppressions and the pain that they went through and the suffering that they experienced and how, in America they were enslaved. We can talk about what happened and how the white people came to Africa and just did all kind of crazy shit in that continent. And that, we can call white people all sort of names, but we're like, okay, enough already. Enough. We are going to represent our ancestors because we know there were more than the suffering that they went through. We know in our ancestral lines there were creators, there were magicians, there were healers, wisdom keepers, artists, jokers. They had joy. How could they not have joy? How could they not? Share with me and tell me why they couldn't have had joy, and let me know your evidence. Let me know how you're saying, I know they didn't have joy because they were oppressed. And you can ask me the same question. I'll make it easy. I know they had joy because I have joy inside of me. I have joy inside of me, and I am the physical representation of them. I'm going to talk more about that. They laughed. They played games. They danced. They played instruments. They made love. They cheated on their loved ones. They had sex when they were too young to have sex. They had sex when it was like maybe they were in their 50s for the first time. Everything that we're going through today, we got to humanize them. They had dreams. They had a vision of a better day. They were inspired by life. And we need to represent them as people who experience all the goodness. In fact, I might even think, I sometimes think maybe they weren't even as stressed as we think they were. You know how when you know somebody, a loved one, a family member, a friend, is having a health challenge and they're in a hospital or something happened to them. Sometimes it is harder on you knowing you can't get to your friend or family who needs some kind of help. And because they're having a health challenge. When you talk to them, they say, yeah, I have some pain, but I'm okay. But you, as the person watching them, sometimes you're in more pain because you feel like you don't want them to be in pain. So when we look back, we might be projecting more pain than they went through. Something to think about. Something to think about. So as we represent our ancestors, we represent our stories. We recognize that we've had leaders. We have leaders in our blood, that wisdom, the intelligence, the leadership skills, and the ability to stand up and say no. If you look at it from the American perspective, there's more. It's not just, I'm talking about the things that I'm aware of. You don't get a lot of books talking about how Africans who were enslaved fought back and how they took over the ship. You hear more about them jumping off and dying because they're saying death is better than this bullshit. But there's a lot more stories where people fought back. Just got to dig it. So if you think your ancestors were weak, but you don't want to say that out loud, how could they not fight back? I know it was a bad condition, but just knowing that some of them fought back and they gave their masters hell, or the ones who are pretending to be masters. And many stories that's just, many stories that we would never hear. But just because we don't hear it with our ears doesn't mean we don't hear it with our bodies. The body knows and the body remembers. That's one of the gifts, one of the things I love about interplay. Interplay helps us tap into the body wisdom. I love this question. Thank you, Kwali. Woo, let me drink some water to that. So I had some things that was downloaded this morning for the show, and I don't know if I get through all of them. I probably won't. Probably part of it will be shared during the event, but I'm going to go through some of it. I'm going to scan, but I want to address this question. And the question is, what about our ancestors that may have not been the best people? What about the ancestors that may have not been the best people? So, two things. What do you think, Kwali? And what I mean by what do you think is like, what comes up for you when you think about that? Because one, it's easy for me to say what I know about it, what I feel about it, what I sense about it. And it's also just as empowering for us all to have a thought. Like, I don't think I want to connect with them. If that's your truth, so be it. Oh no, I can't have them in my life. If that's the story. And sometimes it's like, I don't know, I struggle with that. I don't even know where I land. So I'm going to answer this question with a little bit of ancestral math. Let class begin. So I've been doing lives since Sunday night, and I'm not going to do one tonight because this is it. I did one Sunday, Monday, and this is Tuesday. So I'm going to do another one, and Friday Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then, of course, the event is on Saturday. So, ancestral math, right? Okay. So we're talking about ancestors, the ones who weren't the best people. And there were some who were just the great people that we would love to see again and give them a hug. So let's park that question to the side for a minute. Woo! Thank you, Kwali, for asking that question. And I feel like I feel a lot of energy around it. So if you just, I am present, I am here, I am now. So if you just imagine yourself, Kwali, and all the other listeners and myself, like it required two people to come together for you to be alive, your parents. Whether they gave you away or not, it really doesn't matter in this case, in this math. So, and some of you have heard this, so just listen as if you're hearing it for the first time, if you want. So then you have your grandparents, right? So you have your parents, 2 of them, grandparents, 4. Then you have your great-grandparent, 8 people behind you, right? Behind you and within you. But let's go with behind you for now. Then you have the second great-grandparents, that's 16. And if you keep going and keep adding it up, 32, 64, 128. The 6th great-grandparents, 256. The 7th, 512, 1024, and 2048. So if you go 11 generations back, you have people that you're connected to. 2,048 of them that you're connected to. 11 generations back. If you go 12 generations, you have 4,094 people connected to you. They came together in the most divine way, or accidental if you want, whatever. But these people, just 12 generations back, gave birth to you. Some of them, they probably would have said trifling. People would say they were trifling. They were no good. And sometimes even some of those trifling people can be the most what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe the most caring. How does that happen? Or maybe they did some things, but they're caring. And this is going to be, it's not a stretch, but it may be triggering. But I really want you to catch this. Some of the things we heard about George Floyd when he was murdered, where he's a drug dealer, he was on drugs and all these things. He was he had, I think they said something about him having kids in different places. They were just all the stories that people say to protect their own heart and mind because they don't want to face the truth. But this man is the one that is written in history. He's not the only one, but it's like his murder signified a new era. So you go 12 generations back, and if you count all the people that came before you, the total is 4,094. Yeah, there's bound to be some people that we can look back at today and say, "Whew, Jesus, they were trifling. I don't want nothing to do with them." And there'll be others where we're saying, "Yep, that's my great grandfather. Oh, I love him. I'm going to put a plaque on the wall and say what a mighty hero he was." But I tell you, when you deny any one of them, you deny yourself. You deny a part of your existence. You disconnect yourself from your own roots. And there are many people who teach this differently. This is my truth and I stand by it. Now, the beauty of recognizing, if you do or maybe you don't, the beauty of recognizing that someone's in your lineage weren't the best people, guess what that means? That means you are the perfect one to bring healing light to what they did. You are the one. So rather than I don't want to deal with that side of my ancestry. No, that's why you're here, to deal with it. Every life, every generation is they're the next in line to bring healing to what was done in the past. Kwali said, I forgive them. Yes. Who knows? 400 years from now, there might be some of your descendants. And think of some of the things you did, that you did today, that you did yesterday, that you did last week, last year, 10 years ago, and say you were a horrible person. I'm not talking to you, Kwali. I'm saying you, universal you. They might say I'm a horrible person. I'm writing my memoir, and that's another story. But I am writing a particular part now about my first marriage and the things that happened and how I was being, how I was showing up. There's part of it that's just like, oh my God, I don't want nobody to read this. Now, you may not read it, but I need to get it out. And at the same time, I'm not just going to edit it out because I think it makes me look whatever. I'm going to get the guidance I need to have, because I can write. There's so much to write about. Why am I telling you that? There's a part of my stories that I look back on and I'm ashamed of. I feel guilty about. But at the time I was doing what I was doing, I don't know. I mean, I've been feeling shame or guilty or feel like that was my only option. That was my only choice. You know, when you talk about the people who ratted and what's the word that we use? Not snipped. What's the thing when, you know, police, when there's a crime and somebody comes and go tell the police and they say that, what's the word? Snitch. Thank you. Yeah, snitch. Maybe there was some of them that snitched because one, they believed that was their only option to stay alive. History could make them be like Judas. We can go on a rampage saying, we are our own worst enemy. Why would another black man do it to another? It's like, okay, it's a good question for a short while, but we don't know why people do what they do. We don't know why they did it. But can I find it in me to heal that? Because if they did something that was horrible and they did it consistently, me judging them is adding more of that same energy that I'm judging. So I'm adding more of the same thing that I'm judging into the ethers, but my own perception, my own misperception, because I think I had the full story. One of the things I love about Queen Sugar, that was, I guess it's a drama series, on OWN. I haven't watched it in a while because there's no way to watch it right here in the UK, but I love it. Second season. The first season, I remember watching it, and the way they wrote, the writers, they literally put us, the audience, in a place where you can say, now, if you're being present, if you're listening, if you're paying attention, and you're not being reactive, it will put you in a place where before you can judge somebody's action, and if you're being honest with yourself, you might say, ooh, yeah, I don't know what I would have done. Or like, how could they just tell her it's done, we're over? But she really didn't mean that. She was drunk when she slept with the guy. Yes, I know it's hard for you to find out now this is not your son, but why you get mad? But why wouldn't he get mad? Because all along, if you don't know Queen Sugar, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm not even going to break into that. There are things that happen in life that sometimes we don't even know why people do it. You don't know. Sometimes you don't know why you do what you do. And especially when my voice goes like this, because I'm hearing my voice go higher and I don't know why. I don't know why I do that. It's annoying the crap out of me. But now I'm embracing that part. But anyway, by being the healing agent, the one who is forgiving that experience, you bring light and love and healing to your lineage. And guess what? You're healing yourself because you are the physical representation of those who came before you. They came before you and they're with you. And just so you know, the event that we're doing on April 24th, this Saturday, and then May 15, June 19th, it's not this kind of conversation. It's an interactive experience. We are going to use different practices for us to embody a new story, to release what needs to be released. If we don't release the old stories, let me not be so I keep trying to remember one of my mentors would say absolutist. I think that's the word. I don't want to be so like, yeah, this is, if we don't do it, it's going to be, no, I don't know that. But what I know is when we decide to release the stories, the heavy stories, the sadness, the grief, the pain, the struggle that is in our own cells, courtesy of cell memory, when we make a choice to stand for the healing and the cleansing of our own body temple, we heal the past in the present moment. We don't hear this often enough in the news or when we go to Starbucks to talk. I mean, some of us are having the conversation, of course, and it's not new. Sometimes some of us are having with just few people because we don't want to be seen as crazy. So when we hear it, sometimes it feels like, oh yeah, that's deep. Yeah, that's true. But like anything else, you got to have a discipline. Part of the discipline that I'm going through right now is on Sunday, I was really tripping about the event and people are not registering fast enough like I would want them to. And there's a lot that I need to do to promote it. And I want people to promote it. I was done with people saying, no, I wasn't done with it, but maybe I was in that moment. I was kind of like, okay, enough. People say this is so needed in this time and age. Oh, this is powerful. This is great. And the part of me was like, yeah, right. Go register. Get people registering. So Sunday I was going through it and I just stopped and listened. And I'm always talking to spirit, like asking my spirit and my ancestors, what is mine to do? What do I need to see here that I'm not seeing? And one of the things I was told was, this is for you. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, I see what y'all doing. Because I was concerned about, okay, what the event would be like and, you know, creating a space for people and making sure I have everything and everybody has this experience. They reminded me it's for me. When you're a teacher, a healer, it happens in different ways too, but I'm speaking from my experience. And you download a theme, a topic, or something you want to talk about, or even if it's an online course, you end up being the first one that needs to take that class. And I had to remember in that moment, like, oh, my bad, I forgot. I had to admit, my bad, I was making it more about the outer rather than the inner. So I started to think of my own ancestry. As someone born in the UK, grew up in Nigeria, feels more at home in America. Let me tell you, that was confusing at one point. And it hasn't been, I didn't find peace in that until maybe about a year ago. First of all, recognizing home is wherever I say it is. And I'm not, what's the word? Not ignoring, but I don't know what the word is not coming from me. I'm not ignoring my heritage by saying I feel more at home in America. I'm not ignoring my experience in UK because sometimes I don't really feel connected in UK. And part of being back here is part of my healing. I know it is. I was born here, so it matters. And when we are teaching, healers, teachers, artists, those who are singing, when you allow yourself to have the experience of what came through you, what people get to experience, whether you're writing or whatever it is as a parent, what your children, what people get, what they experience from you is what you've embodied. So this session is focused on having an embodiment experience, an integrated experience, where it's not just an intellectual thing. We want to open our hearts to represent our ancestors and say, I know what you're saying about my ancestors. You said they never contributed anything to civilization. You're dumb. Next. You're dumb. I don't even have time to teach you because you don't have time to listen because you've made that statement. But if you really want to know, Google it. Let's start with astrology. Let's talk about the studies of the stars. That our ancestors, everybody's from the motherland anyway. As Rev D reminded us, those of us who are closer to it, with this, this is different. I do have issues about being so dark sometimes. So it's different for me to want to boast about it right now with this melanated skin. You know, you're not going to confuse me to be an Englishman. I mean, come on. They're definitely not me. But the closer I am to the vibrational frequency of the motherland, Africa, the more we feel the pull. We feel her pain, we feel her cry, we feel her struggle, and we feel her healing. We feel her desire to bring back healing, wholeness, to express more, just like she expresses through nature. So we have a responsibility to birth the new consciousness. Don't waste time trying to change people's minds. Some people are stuck in their BS, and sometimes we are stuck in our BS. And it's not different, whether it's gender bias, whether it's race, whether it's male supremacy. It's all the same thing. It's all rooted in a sense of separation. And some people have taken that sense of separation when it comes to race, and they've manufactured it. They grew it. They invested in it. They wrote it into a system. To represent your ancestors, represent your stories. When you do that, when you continue to do that, when you commit to doing that, you will starve that monster. You will starve it. It will die of starvation. You don't give it your sweat. You don't give it your blood. You don't give it your energy. You don't worry. You don't allow them to make you feel like, I don't know what Black people are going to have to do. I'm so tired. Yes, feel it. Feel what you feel, and yet find a way to bring yourself back up. So, oh no, I am not going to feed this monster with my energy no more. And to prove to myself that I'm going to do that, I'm going to have a different conversations with my children, with my son, with my daughter, with my nieces and nephews and cousins, godchildren. I'm no longer going to keep telling them what the white man is going to do to them and why they need to really be careful. I'm going to raise them to be aware of what's happening around them, but I'm going to spend more time reminding them about the blood, the wisdom that flows through them. I'm going to remind them that they got thousands and thousands and millions of people coursing through their veins. And some of them did some things that we might judge today, but you get to forgive it. You get to shine the light of truth. You get to bring compassion to it. You get to say, I don't know why they did what they did. Maybe they were abused. So they abused somebody else. And that's why now we're calling them a not so good person, a bad person. And, you know, people say hurt people. Yes. But we also need to amplify. Healed people, heal people. Why do we say more? I don't know about, maybe you guys hear it more, but I'm telling you, I've heard more. Hurt people hurt people. That's what happens. Hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt. So we're focusing on the things that we're saying is wrong. We have to say, if we need to say hurt people hurt people. And we also need to balance it by saying, however, when you realize that you gotta go for therapy, when you realize that there's something in your vibe, in your energy, in the way you think that needs correcting, that needs healing. And when you get to that place when you know you're healed, you can't help but be a healer. So hurt people hurt people, and healed people heal people. Representing your ancestors, representing your story is that. Telling the truth about the whole. Not just how bad things were. How bad things are. Spend some time with children, whether they are yours or not. Spend some time with children, whether they're yours or not. And I'm sure there's some of us who are like, whoa, slow down. You need to qualify that because you can't trust everybody around your children. Yes, I get that. And I accept that. And all of us have created that. I remember many years ago, I was working for a daycare center agency. So they'll call teachers when the daycare doesn't have, if teacher calls out sick, and we were kind of like on standby as an agency. So you go to different daycare centers. And I love babies. I love children. I love people. I love humanity. But I don't like cleaning up poop. I don't care if you're a 1-year-old or 4 or an infant. I don't want to deal with poop. No. But if I have to, I will. And I have. And I did. So there were some of those daycares when they say, well, you're a man. You can't change diapers. I'm like, thank you. I'm not offended. I am grateful. I'm grateful for that mindset that could be seen as a judgment protecting me from my shit. So I don't have to deal with this shit. So, things are not always black and white. I'm telling you. There are things that we men need to correct. Men have a lot to correct. Yes. But we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so when I say spend time with children, whether they're yours or not, of course use wisdom. Sometimes you can spend time with a child or with a young person just by acknowledging them on the street. That's another way of recognizing your ancestors and representing your story and representing your ancestors by recognizing another cousin. Because we're related, we're connected. Like, whoo, that cousin is bad. I'm glad he ain't close to me. Hey, how you doing? There's so many stories I can say about that. Oh, Kwali said I should be able to watch Queen Sugar on own app. Woo-wee! You just started something. Yep, I think I got it. I got the app, I think, but I haven't. Oh, I did not know that. Thank you for reminding me. Queen Sugar, for those of you thinking, what is he talking about? So yeah, there's more. What else do I want to share with you? Let's talk about grief. We've talked about it. And if you're hesitant. Actually, no, before I talk about that, I talked about the ancestral mathematics, the people who came before you. So think about that. So I have 3 other siblings. There's 4 of us. So for me, I count, if I go 12 generations back, and if I keep going, the numbers keep increasing, keep multiplying, they keep getting bigger and bigger until you get to infinity. How many ancestors do you have behind you? Keep multiplying, keep adding up, and see where you end up. You're going to end up at infinity. And we say God is the infinite. God is your ancestors. God is your ancestors. Connect with your ancestors, you're connecting with God. And you can, but on your process, on your journey of reconnecting with your ancestors or connecting with your ancestors, don't overlook the elders that are alive today. They are part of the connection. If your father was not the kind of father that you think it should have been, or your mother wasn't the kind of mother that anybody would have asked for, there are ways to heal that. And the healing is really not for her or him. The healing is for you. So you can change your relationship with who you think they were not, with who you think they should have. So as long as you hold that in your mind, you're going to forever hold that in your body. So however you need to get there, plant medicine, therapy, Reiki. Yes, there's so many healing modalities. Go bury yourself in the earth and cry. Go take a bath, a soak. Baptize yourself in the water in the ocean. And understand that everybody is doing the best based on what they know and the resources they had or have. That's a grieving ritual. When you're willing to just say, I've been working with this, forgiving my mom, forgiving my dad, forgiving somebody who abused me. I've been working with it for a year. I'm tired. But if you're tired doing your healing work, you might want to try a different approach. Maybe you're trying too hard. Maybe you think you're alone. Maybe you think it's all on you. You are the physical representation of those people, of at least, if you go 12 generations back, 4,098. So you're not alone. Their spirit, their soul is in you, is alive. The spirit never dies. So they're in you. So whatever you're dealing with, you're not alone. You're not dealing with it alone. And maybe some of the things you're dealing with is stuff that they passed on to you. And another thing I want to add and share and talk about is this idea that every woman is born with the amount of eggs she's going to have for the rest of her life. And those eggs were passed on to her from her mother, which was passed on to the mother from her mother, your grandmother. And it was passed on to your grandmother from your great-grandmother. You see where I'm going here? And it goes on and on and on and on. So the eggs, as a woman, the eggs that you have right now was passed on to you from eons, way back when. The egg that came together with your father's sperm has been carrying you forward thousands and thousands of years. So you've always been here. You've always existed. So even when you leave this physical body, and all of us, when we leave this physical body, we're not going to die. I mean, we call it dying, but your soul is alive. That's really what I'm saying. Your spirit is alive. Take a balloon and blow into it. Tie it. The balloon takes shape. You breathe life into the balloon. After a while, pop it. Where does the air go? Your breath goes back into the ethers. And other people breathe that air in. We breathe in the same air, whether you're wearing a mask or not. So, call it what you will. However you identify, label people, whether someone's a rapist, a racist, a supremacist, an extremist, you breathe in the same air. So you're one with them. being able to look at this truth and zoom out and look at life differently from a place where you're not trying to be right. You're just choosing to be happy. You're choosing compassion. You're choosing, maybe you're not choosing compassion. Maybe you're choosing to understand. Maybe you're choosing to just know. You may get to compassion. We're not actually going to force that. You don't even need to get anywhere in compassion because compassion exists already. Abundance is everywhere. Compassion is everywhere. The minute you understand that there's some things you don't understand and there's some things you will never understand, something shifts in you and compassion rises up. Your heart opens some more. Your mind is more open. A grief ritual happens in all kinds of ways. And we need to grieve. We grieve those who couldn't grieve. We grieve for those and with those who feel like if they allow themselves to grieve, it would take them out. We grieve for those whose brothers and sisters were sold into slavery. We grieve for those who were lynched. We grieve with you for times when you knew you should have got the job, but you know when you heard it that the only reason you didn't get it is because of the color of your skin, the features on your body. That we grieve for the time you were made to feel less because of your hair, because of the way you look. We grieve for times when you couldn't find the words. We grieve for mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and children who are numb, have frozen in time because of how society, not just white toxicity or white supremacy, has treated them, but how we treat one another. You got some black people in America that don't really care too much about black people in Africa. You got black people in Nigeria who say, if I was in America, those black people in America are lazy. There are black people who in America who do not want to be called African. Like, I ain't African. I'm African American. There was a time if you call someone African in America, no, not African, not call them African in America. In America, if you call in school, you call them you're an African. There's gonna be a fight. Who you calling an African? Because yes, I'm going to say it. Some people who have allowed their mind to be used by the energy of evil. That's a different way from how I was going to say it. The evil-minded folks have infiltrated our minds through media, movies, and songs that we've believed bullshit about ourselves. And they make money off it. Whew. Hello, IG. I can't really see everybody's name. Isp Volon. Am I saying your name right? I don't know. Hey, Chris. It's on us. It's up to us. And if you find yourself in a place where you're like, them white people ain't going to do nothing. Them white people don't really care. Them white people, you're part of the problem. That's right. I said it. You want to have a word with me? lifecoachade.com. Send me an email from there. And then while you're there, sign up for my mailing list. Spend more time talking about what men ain't going to do, what women are going to do. I mean, yeah, we can do that. But you've got, if you really care about your health and well-being, your life, your existence, and the life that you want for your children, your nieces and nephews, or children to come, even if you don't have biological children, because I don't have biological children, so that doesn't apply to me. Yes, it does. Every time you think you're giving birth to an idea, which is picked up by other children. So you're a father, you're a mother. So we have a responsibility. You got to allow yourself to be pulled by a vision and no longer pushed by pain. This is my story. I in essence, I can say that this conversation I'm having with you, to some extent, I've sort of ran from it. You know, I've been studying this whole thing about ancestors. My ancestors are Nigerian who grew up in Nigeria for 14 years, but didn't really know anything about Ifa tradition. I knew some things, but what I knew mostly was it was evil. Nope, we ain't talking about it. I ain't talking about it. In America, people ask me, oh, so you're Yoruba. Tell us about the Ifa tradition. I'm like, no, we're not. I am not. A white woman at Phoenix and Dragon said, you're from Nigeria, Yoruba. I said, yeah. I said, oh, my husband, he's white. He's a babalawo. I'm like, whoa, wait, this is too much. I love being in Phoenix and Dragon so I can read the metaphysical books and read about angels and how I can be with nature. But here I am. I don't want nothing to do with Ifa, which is all about metaphysics and science and maths. The same thing I was standing in Phoenix and Dragon bookstore in Atlanta looking for, like, I don't know anything about it. And I had no clue that's in me. My ancestors can go into nature and pull the right leaves and the barks and make tea for you. And overnight, you go from being completely close to death to being able to walk around. But I was miseducated that my tradition is evil. And there's still some of us who bought into that in the motherland and believe Jesus is the only way. And yes, any religion is misused. Anybody with power will misuse their power, their understanding, their ability to make shit happen, if you will. So there are people who are misusing that wisdom, that knowledge, for money. And people want to say, well, you know, there's some of the babalawos, which is really the shamans. Babalawo, Baba means father, Awo means the story, the secret. Babalawo is the one that keeps the secret, that understands it. The diviner who can look beyond what's happening here. There is no spot where God is not. You live in God, God lives in you. So if there is no spot where God is not, and you're in God and God is in you, there is nothing you don't know. There's nothing you can't tap into. Scientists are only proving what's been proven. That's a new word, proven. They're just telling you that light, there's a ray, they have different frequencies, the rays, there's of different frequencies. But something in you knows that. So when scientists are telling you, we know, we've studied, we've done research, it's fine. I'm not judging it. Sounds like I am. Maybe a little. The ones that are critical. I'm judging those who are critical. But I'm going to stop judging because that's just more judgment, right? When scientists or people who study or do research present something, it doesn't mean that now because they've said it, it makes it completely true. They're making visible the invisible. And that's why we are here. We are here to represent the invisible, that you can heal yourself by taking a moment to just get quiet. Place your hand on your heart. Be quiet. Place your other hand on your neck, wherever the pain is, on your stomach, on your head, on your eyes, on your back, your intestines. Just move. Just place your hands wherever you feel like placing your hand, or not. Remember your power to heal yourself, to take a deep breath and renew yourself. We are the ones we're waiting for. And there are always going to be people doing dumb shit. But that doesn't mean you can't be about the shift that wants to happen. Life is a never-ending story. And your every thought, your every word, your every action is adding to the story. There's a word on, see, the experiences that you have, like it's the words that you're adding to the story of your life and those who are going to come behind you. Once again, whether you have children or not, you're included. This is an all-inclusive experience. And the more you accept what you don't understand, the quicker you can move forward. Why would anybody ever do that? Sometimes we'll never know why people do the dumb shit that they do. And sometimes I don't really want to know why someone doing dumb shit, because now I'm caught up in their dumb shit, trying to understand their dumb shit and trying not to repeat their dumb shit. So I'm focusing on not repeating their dumb shit. So this energy of dumb shit is just getting bigger and bigger. I have removed myself from the news because I can. Life has just kind of had it that way. Since I moved in January, I don't have access to live TV anymore. I can go online. I see some of the things about the shooting that's happening in America, but I don't want to read it. You can say I'm putting my head under this, sticking my head in the soil. Okay. I'm a healer. I'm a teacher. I'm a doctor who is dealing with the casualty. I don't have time to investigate why there are accidents, why people are sick. Other people can do that. My mission is to be about the healing. And I know that the more of us that focus on the healing, the more we raise the vibration. It's messy, it's not always easy. And I'm not even interested. Well, I can't do it. I don't have it in me. Well, what do you have in you to do? Do you have it in you to keep complaining about the shit that you say you don't want? You better get some toilet tissue and wipe that shit up. And go sit down somewhere. Don't be a part of what you don't want. Life is a never-ending story. And there's some things that you've done, that I've done, that we've done, that people are going to look back and criticize and judge. But once you release the body anyway, it doesn't matter anymore. You are the living embodiment of the past. You are your ancestors. You are the altar. So you can put a picture in your altar, light a candle, the picture of your mother, your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, and keep going back as far as you can. And come there every morning, pour a libation, have your candle lit. Those people, the picture that you have, those people in the picture, they live in you. There's a fire of passion in you. There is this flame that's burning in you. You are what? 70, 80% water? There's all kind of substance in you that is part of what the earth is holding. You are the altar of life. And when you shift your mind, you get to alter your perspective because you recognize you're the altar. So representing your ancestors is just as simple as sometimes how you treating your body. How are you treating your body? Now, I'm not talking about being a vegetarian, being a vegan, whatever. I'm a vegan with options and a meat-eating vegetarian. You ain't going to tell me what I should eat. When my body asks for it, I'm going to pay attention. I had one young lady one time trying to fight me. And I said, I'm a vegan with options. But how is that possible? Doesn't that defeat the purpose? Don't you think about the animal? She's supposed to be serving us. And I'm thinking, don't you think you're holding me up right now? I'm starving. I just don't get it. I understand. It's not for everybody. I'm a vegan with options and a meat-eating vegetarian. I get to choose. But, am I getting enough rest? I'm starting this new thing right now, which is developing a new habit. Ain't easy. I've been staying up late for a long time. It used to be 3:30. Then I'll go to almost 5. And I'm still done the last few days, but I'm getting close to going to bed early at 2 a.m. so I can wake up feeling refreshed as opposed to have to set the alarm to wake up earlier because I got shit to do. Then I wake up because I went to bed late. I wake up feeling like shit. But if I recognize that my body needs about 7 hours sleep, sometimes 8, if I take my behind to bed early, right now we're aiming for 2:30 with the hopes to get to 1:30 a.m. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I'm trusting the process. But I have to be committed to the discipline. And as I shared at the beginning of the show, when I get enough rest, I'll wake up with information, with answers, with messages. I remember my dreams. So I'm doing myself a favor when I take care of my body. Hey, Christine. Representing your ancestors is part of it, is taking care of your body. And if you're eating something that you love and enjoy, and you find yourself saying, oh, I'm being bad, I shouldn't eat this, but I love it. Well, whose idea are you buying into? Food is not your enemy. You are. You are the one thinking the thought. Food is, for the most part, neutral. There are some people who smoke to the 100 and something, and you know, yes, I understand. But the most important thing about your health is your mindset and how you're treating your body. Your mindset is the most powerful immune system. How are you doing, Christine? Christine on Instagram. Leslie, anything I need to say, any announcements? Because I think I wasn't necessarily asking anything else I need to say, but maybe I was, because you're like, I don't know, you're the one hosting the show. Don't ask me, I don't know. But any announcement, because I'm complete, other than say, I invite you to, Boosie. Oh, nice to see you. Boosie said, discipline and commitment is what's up. Discipline and commitment is what's up. Boosie, we need to talk. Let me know when you're available. You know, thank you for putting that comment in there, which makes me think of a phrase that's sort of coming. All I'll say is freedom and discipline goes hand in hand, which is the discipline and commitment. So if you want to be free, if you want to feel liberated, you got to have a discipline. Sometimes I like to float around. I don't know if I can talk today, Boosie, because I got the event coming up. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow early, my time, which is maybe 1 or 2, which is 8 or 9 o'clock your time. That would be helpful. Oh, I'm not even going to say what I'm laughing at. But it is funny. It's like, okay, all right. Yeah. So go to bit.ly/represent ancestors and sign up. Join us this Saturday, April 24th, 1 p.m. Eastern. It's a 3-hour session from 1 to 3. If you're in UK, it is 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's a place to connect, to sit in presence and listen to the indigenous wisdom within you. Maybe even receive a message, a vision of what's next for you. You may even catch a new idea where you realize the thing that you were judging about yourself is actually your superpower. I invite you also to check out my website, lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. Michelle, you're in the house. I did not know you were there. You were hiding. Michelle Jordan. Michelle, you want to come in and say something about this grief workshop? Michelle Jordan is going to be joining me. Let me know if you're there. If you're there, we can send you a quick link. I know it's it's quite early. It's 11:30 your time now. But if you let us know in the chat room if you want to come on and share some, because you bring it. When I was planning this, I knew you were the one to co-lead this gathering when it comes to this grief ritual. So let us know. I know there's like a 10-second delay, so we'll just give it some time. If you want to come on real quick on camera, or you can come on without being on camera. We know what you look like, because you're like, it's too early, man. I just woke up. But if you want to come on and share, what you want to add, we can do it. But in the meantime, I want to once again invite you to check out my website, lifecoachade.com, lifecoachade.com. Register for my mailing list so we can keep you updated. Representing our ancestors, representing our stories is this April, May 15th and June 19th. As I said before, this one, the one on Saturday, is we're doing a grief ritual. It's an embodied process. May 15th, we're telling a new story. A story that comes from our heart, from our soul, from our spirit. A story that you allow to just well up from within you. Not a story that you've been carrying. And it may be a story you've been carrying that gets to be refined. You get to have a new view, a new inner view about your own story. And you may even find someone in the group who can stand with you. Like, I had similar thought, but I never heard anybody else say it out loud or even let me know they had that kind of thought. Yeah, let's work together. And then June 19th, we are coming together to receive and hold a vision of a new generation. If you've been hearing a call, if something's been nudging you, this event is for you. And if you don't think it's for you, you're lying to yourself. Because if you're hearing about it, there's something there for you. But if you really think, yeah, I'm right, it's not for me, then share it with somebody else. Okay? Or purchase a ticket and invest in the transformation of somebody else's life, especially if you can't make it. Send a donation. Contribute to it. All right. I don't see anything from Michelle. Let me just make sure before we go. Michelle may have texted me. Let me just make sure. I wanted to bring Michelle on because we're co-leading on Saturday. And then on the next month, May 15th, is Masanko Bander and I. And then the last month, it's Michelle, Masanko, and myself. Okay, so now I don't see anything from Michelle. So I'm going to just take that, Michelle, that you're like, no. I am not coming on screen. Have you lost your mind? Black is always beautiful. All right, we're wrapping it up. I love you. Let's see. No, what do you mean looking forward to? You say, I wanted you to come on live. That's a polite way of saying, yeah, I'm looking forward to be there on Saturday and I'll be on screen because I'll be ready there. But I'm not coming just like that. It's all good. All right, beautiful people, I'm out of here. Check out the information on the website, bit.ly/represent ancestors. Register now, share with your people, share with Black people. It's for Black people, people of African descent, African heritage, because we need to do our own work. So share it. I encourage you to share it. Your sharing is also part of the representing your ancestors. I'm glad I took a breath there because I was going to do something. And Leslie will be like, oh, man, really? Okay, so Ade End is the one, right? Correct? Don't worry about that. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. We make mistakes and we forget. Just want to make sure. All right. I love you, beautiful people. Take a deep breath. Trust the process. And I'll be back next Tuesday. Actually, I'll be back online. I'll do a live. I don't know when. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday night. And so if you have any questions, feel free to share it with me. Let me just check this chat before we go. You're welcome, Quali. Yes, Quali's thanking Angela, Leslie, and everybody. Thank you, everyone, for joining and paying attention. I don't know where that came from. Thank you for paying attention. All right. We out of here.